Yeah, you're watching America's Weather Center, and it was a snowy week for the Mid-South region. You're talking Ohio through Tennessee, those valleys right there getting several inches of snow. Higher elevations faced the first snowstorm of the season as well. For some areas, it was the earliest snow in decades. So let's turn to someone who made the trek from Florida, the comfy confines, all the way up to the mountains of Tennessee and then into North Carolina. That is Mike Boylan, a storm chaser and blogger with millions of followers behind Mike's weather page. Mike, great to see you. We knew it was going to happen. You were telling me about it last week. And you could drive on up to the Smokies and see what you could find. You got some snow. You got your wish.
Yeah, it's always a gamble, you know. I mean, it seems like the models always start out a little low, and you kind of hope for these trends. And man, did it trended up for sure. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, there was so much joy. Like, I don't know. I met so many folks up there that traveled to possibly see snow, you know, and it's just, I call it magical. I don't know what it is. It's just something about it. I just had a really good time.
Yeah, I noticed you had some. You had some fun. Let's put it that way. I was looking at your socials out there and doing some snow angels and whatnot, right?
I know. I've never done one, and every time, you know, I chicken out, and I'm like, you know what? I'm solo. There's nobody up there. I was on the top of Roan Mountain, you know, 5,000 foot plus, freezing. Why not? You know, and I'm glad I did it. It was on my bucket list.
You know what you got to do? You should have asked me that because I would have warned you. Always make sure your hood is up, because if your hood is down and you do it, and all of a sudden you pop back up, that snow goes right down your back, down your crack. It's not fun.
Yeah, and I didn't have my shirt tucked in either, so that happened anyways.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. So you also had a rental car, right? Some travel troubles with that.
Well, I joked when I picked it up. It was a Jeep, and it had a snow button on it. You know, so I was kind of being funny. I'm like, well, I got a magic button. There was another sign on the dash that said "run." I'm like, well, what does that mean? Like, get the heck out of Dodge? So I actually going down the mountain. So going up, there was very little accumulation on the road, and while I was up there, 2 or 3 inches must have fell because there was no tracks going back down. I mean, nothing. Like, you know, it's easy when there's tracks. You can kind of get an idea of where you're going to go. So I inched it. I had a couple times I had to use the old pump the brakes to not slide into the barrier. It was probably a little scarier than hurricane chasing, honestly.
Well, I mean, did you have anybody with you, or was it just you?
No, and a quarter tank of gas. Apparently, I got in trouble online because I posted a picture, and they're like, "Never go up the top of a mountain with a quarter tank of gas." So I learned the hard way. You know, next time I'll make sure I fill it up.
Yeah, listen, you trial and error, right? Up there, there's no question about it. I'm looking at some of the snowfall totals. I mean, computer estimates right here, you're going about 8 to 12 inches of snow across the highest peaks right there. Did you detect any of that?
Oh, heck yeah. I'll tell you what was interesting. Driving back to Gatlinburg, I think it's called Pittman Center, about 5 miles to the east on 321. They got, right before the sun went down, they literally got 3 or 4 inches. And the locals were telling me, you know, Cosby area, that it's very rare to get that much because it's lower elevation. And you know, going back to I actually flew there, so I went out of Asheville. But going back to Asheville, they had snow all the way to Asheville. So I think a lot of folks, you know, got way more than expected with this early season. And you know, I'll tell you what, Bob, what for me it was the color of the leaves. Like, I've never been up there that early, and to see the leaves at peak color, but then also seeing the snow was just a lot of the locals said that's very rare. So
yeah, it's rare. And it's also that's not a good thing either, right? Because, you know, the leaves act like a catcher's mitt and it collects that snow, and you start seeing the limbs come down. You always worry about power outages. Did you see anything like that up there? Any limbs down?
No, I did not. It wasn't as windy as I thought. You know, I think the front came through the day before, so it wasn't as bad. I've been up there before where we saw a lot of trees down, so it was definitely more of a quiet, brisk rush of cold air.
Well, that's good. So speaking of trees down, so you went back down the mountain, then you went back down to the Biltmore Village, right, in North Carolina, to check out the Helene damage. Now, had you been to that region just after we had Helene go up? Have you seen it, all the damage that was there just after the hurricane went through last year?
No, and you know,
first time,
and I had I almost felt guilty because we saw it on TV. You know, living here in Florida, we had our own impacts to deal with, and being on the ground, something just hit me. It was so unbelievable to see where that river was. It's a small river. I think the Swananoa, if I messed it up, but to think how high that water came up and to see those buildings like it was frozen in time, like it happened yesterday. I guess it just took me back. I just couldn't imagine what it was actually like. You see it from above and you see it from far away, but see it on the ground level, it changed me. It really did. It made me realize how bad it probably was up there for those folks.
Yeah, it's stunning. And have you seen any signs of it coming back a little bit?
Yeah, and a lot of locals, got on me a little bit. I mean, it was a very small portion of the Biltmore area that I was at. Most of the city looking great.
Yeah.
It's, those smaller isolated areas. And I did talk to a business owner there, and her name was Magnolia Hair Salon. So go support her. But she was telling me how the water was all the way up to her roof, and where I was standing, I just couldn't believe it. I'm looking to where I just came from, where that little river was. To think that water, I saw a water line above me with a house that was kind of still dangling. I just couldn't imagine that water came that far in. I just couldn't imagine. I mean, you see these drone videos, and they look like on TV. Oh yeah, it's a bad flood. But when you stand there and you think that water was so high, 30, 40, 50 foot. Some of the locals said 60, and I can believe that. It must have came in rushing. And then I saw some of these buildings where the concrete walls were still, like it just happened. So that was rushing water. That was, powerful. And I know we saw the videos.
I know, but meanwhile, yeah, you're looking at. Meanwhile, what was the river like right there? Was it just a little trickle at that point? And it's like hard to imagine what it was like.
That was. Yeah, I filmed a little video looking down. And I'm just thinking, how did that happen? So, yeah, we just had so many impacts from Helene. I know we had coastal flooding here at home. We had where the landfall was. We had trees. There were so many impacts from that storm.
It's still evident, and it will be for years, Mike. We know, unfortunately. So then you picked up your tracks. You went out of North Carolina back home, and then you entered into the freeze zone one more time. So imagine, here I am in Florida, and we're talking about falling iguanas.
There were, and I gotta share a funny story. So I popped out of bed this morning, and like most guys, I wear boxers, and that's it, and let the dogs out. Totally forgot that we had a cold, snap here in Florida. I'm like, whoop! I ain't doing that. It was like it hit me hard. Because I just totally forgot. I mean, I'm thinking home, and it was still in the 30s here this morning. So, it's crazy.
I know. Listen, if you don't dress right in Florida in its Arctic air, you're going to go out as Mr. Boylan, and you're going to come back inside as Mrs. Boylan. That's how cold it was.
Yeah, my wife laughed. I'm like, nope. I let the dogs do their business on the back porch. And
right. I can see your tweet right here. It's great. It's we have Florida snow. Well, kind of. Frost is on the roofs here at home. Don't expect to see it here. Take a look around Middle Florida. Likely we'll see some too. So yeah, you're right on.
Well, that was weird too, because I saw the NWS looked like we were on the edge, and my neighbor came by this morning as he always does, and I heard his windshield wipers, and it had that classic ice, and I'm like, you got ice on the window. Then I looked up, and all the roofs were white, and
that's when
it's Florida snow.
It stinks when all of a sudden you try to turn on your windshield wipers and it peels that little layer of rubber off it, and you're like, oh, okay, because it was frozen to the windshield. Yeah.
Well, and I learned my lesson on the mountain too, because there was some hikers up there, and they had all their windshield wipers up in the air.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh crap! So I went to turn mine on, and it didn't move. I had to go out there and force some water on there.
Yeah, that's right.
Rookie.
It sounds like you had a good week, my friend, and I'm trying to think what we're going to talk about next week, because nothing really impactful. So what are your plans for this week? What are you going to do?
Well, the Northern Lights, I feel terrible because I don't really understand them. I guess it was all the way down in Middle Florida last night. So I might actually, we might have that G5 possibly hitting soon, and maybe we'll see them tonight.
Yeah.
So I might venture out and do that. That's it. You're right. We got a boring week ahead in weather, which is good.
Good. That's good. So you and I will joke about something else next week. How about that?
We've never had nothing to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely right. You're absolutely right, my friend. I'm glad you keep on coming back. I love talking to you.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I enjoy it. Thank you, Bob.
All right, Mike. We'll talk to you in a little bit again. Mike Boylan out there, Mike's weather page. Good stuff.